Hello everyone, my name is Ujjwal Surasya, currently pursuing MTech in IT from IIPS DAVV Indore. Today we are discussing about the answers of all the questions of third internal given by Dr. Shaligram Prajapat sir. So we have a first question is, in illustration matrix multiplication, the number of multiplication needed to multiply 2 cross 2 matrix is, so the answer is 6. The Hoffman code is a type of uh, looseless compression algorithm. In Kruskal algorithm, what is the time complexity for sorting the edge of the graph? It's order of n log n. In Prim's algorithm, what is the time complexity for finding the minimum weight edge for a vertex? Its answer is order of n. Its answer is order of n. The depth first search can be used to find the longest path between two nodes in a graph. The breadth first search can be used to find the shortest path between two nodes in a graph. Dynamic programming can be used to solve problems that exhibit optimal structure and overlapping subproblem. The matrix chain multiplication problem can be used using dynamic programming. The longest common subsequence problem can be solved using the LCS is a part of dynamic programming, so it is solved using dynamic programming. In illustration algorithm, the matrix to be divided into two equal parts. The running time of illustration algorithm is order of n to the power 2.81. Hoffman code are prefix code, which means no code is a prefix of any other code. The minimum number of bits required to represent the symbol is in a set using Hoffman code is less than the number of symbols. What is the time complexity of standard matrix multiplication? Its order of n cube. In illustration algorithm, what is the base case for the recursive algorithm? I think it's 4 cross 4 when the matrix are 4 cross. The Hoffman code assigns shorter code to symbol with high probability. In Kruskal algorithm, how many times the edges of a graph sorted? Only once. Prim's algorithm can be used to find the minimum spanning tree of undirected graph. The time complexity of breadth first search is order of n. The time complexity of depth first search is also an order of n. What is the time complexity of dynamic programming approach for solving longest common subsequence? Its answer is order of n to the power 2, n square times time complexity. In the matrix chain multiplication problem, the number of matrix to be multiplied is given as a input to the algorithm. Number of time complex, what is the time complexity of dynamic programming approach for solving matrix chain multiplication? So Its answer is order of n cube. n cube. Which of the following algorithm uses a greedy approach? So greedy approach is used by Kruskal algorithm. The longest common subsequence problem can be used to solve DNA sequencing problem. The running time of iteration algorithm is faster than standard matrix multiplication algorithm for matrix of size 4 cross 4. In a Hoffman code, the average length of a code word is less than the number of symbols. What is the time complexity of dynamic programming approach to solve matrix change multiplication problem? So its answer is order of n cube. What is the time complexity? What is the maximum number of sub-problems need to be solved in dynamic programming approach for matrix chain multiplication? Sub-problem to be solved. It's n minus 1 time. In dynamic approach to solve the longest common subsequence, what is the recurrence relation is used? So its answer is LCS Ij max of. Its answer is B. In the dynamic programming approach to solve longest common subsequence problem, what is the time complexity of print? Order of 2 to the power n. What is the time complexity of dynamic programming approach to solve matrix chain multiplication for a given sequence of matrix? Is order of n cube. What is the time complexity of dynamic programming approach to solve matrix chain multiplication problem for a given sequence? Order of n cube. Which of the following algorithm can be used to solve LCS, dynamic programming? Which of the following algorithm can be used to solve matrix chain multiplication, dynamic programming? Its answer is dynamic programming. In dynamic programming approach to solve matrix chain multiplication, what is the minimum number of scalar multiplication? In dynamic approach to solve matrix chain multiplication, the minimum number of scalar approaches. Which of the following is not a subproblem of dynamic programming approach to solve longest common subsequence? Answer D. The dynamic programming approach to solve the longest common subsequence is a time complexity of order of n cube. What is the difference between Prim's algorithm, Kruskal algorithm for finding the minimum spanning tree of an algorithm? Prim's algorithm starts with the arbitrary node and adds to the shortest available edge. Answer A. What is the time complexity of dynamic programming approach to solve matrix chain multiplication? Its answer is order of n cube. What is the time complexity of solve dynamic programming approach for matrix chain multiplication problem? N square. In dynamic programming approach to solve the longest common subsequence problem, what is the recurrence relation? Is answer B. In dynamic programming approach, to solve the longest common subsequence of what is the time complexity of LCS? Order of n. The time complexity of dynamic programming approach to solve matrix chain multiplication problem for a given sequence of n matrix is order of n cube. What is the time complexity of dynamic programming approach to solve the matrix chain multiplication for a given sequence of matrix? Its order of 2 to the power n. Which of the following algorithm can be used else? Its answer is dynamic programming. Which of the following algorithm can be used to solve matrix chain multiplication program? Its answer is dynamic programming. In dynamic programming approach to solve matrix chain multiplication, what is the minimum number of scalar multiplication? So its answer is m 0 n minus 1. In dynamic programming approach to solve the matrix chain multiplication problem, what is the minimum number of scalar multiplication are required to multiply chain length? So its answer is 0 n minus 1. Which of the following is not a subproblem of dynamic programming approach to solve longest common subsequence? Answer is LCS 1 plus I plus 1 and j plus 1. The dynamic programming approach to solve longest common subsequence problem is the time complexity of order of n to the power 2, and answer of 14th is D, all of the above.